You thought the summer events are done? Nope. Cygames decides to give us another summer event in the form of Stranded Scions, which is the dumbest name for an event in my personal opinion. The first among the 2 gacha characters from this event is Summer Leonidas, a 5-star Shadowlance unit, who has perhaps the hottest summer design among all of the male characters in the game that have summer outfits. His hair also makes him look like a model in a hair shampoo commercial. Simp him for all you want, I'm here to discuss his skills and abilities, and how he performs in battle. He is another dragondrive unit, making him the 6th dragondrive unit in game, the 4th within the shadow element, and the 2nd in the summer series alongside Summer Mim. His dragondrive is unique enough to distinguish him from the rest of the dragondrive units. Let's look at that, and the rest of his kit in further detail. His first skill, Exigent Vanquisher, costs 2285 SP. It deals 1548% damage in a line, and fills the dragondrive gauge by 26.67% when the attack hits. The variant is used instead when Leonidas is in dragondrive. During dragondrive, he deals increased damage at 2022% and lowers shadow blight resistance of enemies by 20% for 30 seconds. On paper, this skill is a generic dragondrive skill with decent damage and the ability to charge the dragondrive gauge without the infinite spamming. But instead of inflicting shadow blight directly, it reduces shadow blight resistance. This is an incredibly valuable ability in long battles, and with this ability having an incredibly low SP cost, it makes this skill a very powerful skill, in theory. We'll discuss more about that in the dragondrive section. But overall, this skill is an important skill for dealing with bosses and long battles. His second skill, Phantasmic Servant, costs 4960 SP. It deals 1708% damage and inflicts shadow blight. Interestingly, the shadow blight on Leonidas deals less damage and has a lower base chance than other shadow blight enabling units. This skill also grants a defense amp, a brand new buff mechanic that works exactly like strength amp. Lastly, it allows the entire team to have additional 50% chance of inflicting shadow blight. This skill does a lot of things, but 2 things caught my eye, the defense amp and the shadow blight edge. Defense amp is a brand new defense boosting mechanic that has higher modifiers than strength amp. It works exactly like strength amp, with the modifiers as shown here. The self-defense here is actually quite helpful, on par with the typical defense co-ability on axe units. As for the team-wide Shadow Blight edge, it synergizes perfectly with the Shadow Blight resistance debuff from his first skill, allowing the team to inflict more Shadow Blight in very long battles, such as Legend Kayan, and especially Azura, as he naturally has very high Shadow Blight resistance. Overall, this is a great skill with excellent supporting capabilities. Leonidas has the generic HP co-ability for lances, and a 13% strength boost for any unit in the team that successfully inflicts Shadow Blight. This works especially well on Leonidas, as he is able to increase the chances of inflicting Shadow Blight for himself and the entire team. We'll first check out his dragondrive ability, Summer Conqueror. Its icon is basically the Black Panther in his splash art, which I guess symbolizes his tenacity and willpower. It has typical dragondrive attributes, but the accompanying abilities is what makes it interesting. Not only does dragondrive grant a 50% strength boost, it also grants him a unique force strike with 3 charge levels. Though Leonidas does not have any ability that grants buffs for force strikes directly, the force strikes granted by this ability is immensely powerful at maximum charge. This presents a dilemma for him though. With how dragondrive works, if he uses force strikes too often, he'll deplete the dragondrive gauge relatively quickly. On the contrary, if you only use his dragondrive for the enhanced first skill, you'll be missing out on the enhanced force strike. To get the best of both worlds, one must strike a balance among force strikes, skills, and keeping up his gauge by normal attacks. though this is easier said than done. His resistance is 100% blindness resist, which allows him to keep fighting without blindness making his hits miss, but he'll have to watch out for paralysis. His third ability is 50% Shadow Blight Edge, allowing himself to become a functional Shadow Blight supporter, especially when combined with the rest of his kit. Summer Leonidas is able to perform two distinct roles, DPS and Shadow Blight support. He's like Summer Alex, but with weaker supportive capabilities and greater personal damage. Personally, I would go for a dominantly DPS build, with the slots for Dominion prints filled by skill haste prints for a slightly quicker charge rate of his low SP skills. The DPS build is a generic offensive style, but with additional force strike buffing abilities, to boost his already powerful force strikes. For his dragon, since dragon skills don't matter to him, a good ability on a dragon is all he needs. The natural pick certainly goes to Reborn Nidhogg, with high overall damage multipliers. Fatalis is also an excellent option for his raw strength boosts. If skills are your focus, go for Arsenal Shinobi. However, the best farmable option goes to Ramiel, with decent strength boosts and dragon prep to allow Leonidas to enter dragondrive earlier. I'm not gonna recommend Merishitam anymore, since she is a limited dragon that is outperformed by many other permanent and farmable dragons. Weapon choices for Leonidas, as well as every other shadow unit in game, is generally fixed on the Kayan weapons. Not only do they have impressive abilities such as increasing attack rate and crit rate, but they are also one of the easiest Agito weapons to obtain, since Kayan below Master is very easy to beat, as long as the team can dispel his buffs. For his Wimprint setup, this is my current setup. This is considering that my team has another Shadow Blight applicator in the form of Leonidas' ancestor, Alberius himself. I also have Grace for the shielding and Elfie for full poison support. For co-op, it's pretty much the same setup, with Delphi switched out for Summer Uden, to grant Leonidas a shit ton of dragon haste. As a unit, Summer Leonidas is yet another excellent addition into the character roster. His dragondrive brings interesting playstyle that is even distinct from other dragondrive units, and his Shadow Blight support capabilities make sure that he himself and the team can continue to dish out Shadow Blight even when the battle rages on. As usual, I have to search for his weaknesses, and the obvious one that I discovered is his dragondrive uptime. If his enhanced force strikes is used too frequently, he runs the risk of depleting his dragondrive gauge faster. My solution is to don't even bother about the depletion, and instead depend on co-abilities that greatly improve his dragon haste, which the shadow element certainly has a lot of. Overall, he is an excellent dragondrive unit, and being permanent makes this variant of Leonidas the only version of him not locked behind specific banners. Now go out there and recognize Leonidas as the perfect candidate for a fashion model, from his pose on his splash art, to the new imprint that is so hot that it burns my eyes. That's all from me. Moga out.